Stage 3 starts out with a bit of a doozy. That being these massive endless pits. Our strategy of moving up and down to fight enemies won't work here because we'll just fall off. So this is the level where we're going to be using a lot of jump kicks and a lot of throws, and that will carry on through the rest of the game. This change in strategy isn't just because of the bottomless pits or because of the platforming, it's also because this is the level where enemies start swarming you in massive numbers. So think of it more as a permanent evolution in our playstyle as opposed to just a replacement. I really don't like the platforming. I don't like it. We're back on solid ground and we can move vertically again, but 1/3 of the screen is still a bottomless pit, so we're going to stay as far right as possible and start throwing enemies to the left toward that pit. As I established in the last video, throwing enemies in a group is a good way to hit multiple of them at the same time. And I think I demonstrate that pretty clearly. Not only is this a smart thing to do, but it's really satisfying to hit so many enemies at once. It feels good to get out of a situation like this scratch-free, aside from those couple of times we fell down the pits, but we'll get an extra life back. So we've morphed again into our powered form, but we can't afford to be as reckless as we were in the previous stages. The upgrade here still shouldn't be undersold, and we don't have to be even half as careful as we did in our unpowered form, but we would do well to use the dodge a lot more and move up and down a lot more as well. Of course, you always can be more careful, but zipping across the screen like this feels pretty good. It also looks very impressive. And trust me, we're going to be plenty careful in many other aspects of the game from here on out. But now it's time for the boss battle against Green Ranger. This is the first boss fight where you might find yourself asking, what the hell am I supposed to do? Green Ranger zips all around the screen, the breaks between his attacks are very brief, and even when he is standing still, it's still difficult to hit him. I imagine if you had a mathematically precise understanding of the range of your dodge, the amount of invincibility frames, then you could still knock him around just fine. But if you're a normal person, you might just wait until he uses his flute and smack him in the back of the head. Unlike most of his other attacks, which have an unpredictable quality to them and an unpredictable speed, his flute only travels in one direction. It's very easily dodged, and he stands still for quite a while after he uses it. So it's very, very much intended as a weak point. So in short, I don't recommend trying the normal strategy of 1-2 dodge. I don't recommend the strategy of dodging behind him and hitting him in the back. I do recommend just waiting until he uses flute and then smacking him silly. The only downside to this is that you definitely can't control when he uses the flute. Standing directly in front of him does nothing, you just have to wait until he randomly decides to use it. I would prefer if there were a way to bait him into using the attack, but still, it's just a little bit of waiting, and if waiting bothers you, then you're really not going to like the way I play the rest of this game.